Anybody that's ever meditated knows that all you got to do is sit still and quiet with your eyes closed, and you just magically go off into this zone of bliss where everything is okay, and you've just never felt so centered and at peace before, right? Wrong. Anybody who's ever even tried to meditate once knows what a frustrating and uncomfortable experience it can be, as we have to sit there and notice the repetitive thoughts in our head that just goes on endlessly, it seems. And how do we get past this? But maybe the goal isn't the bliss. Maybe that's not what we should be aiming for. And maybe the diamonds that we're actually discovering in the awakening process and in the journey of meditation is all that crap that we find on the meditation cushion. Maybe that's what we should be looking for in the first place. And if you find it, hallelujah. Let me explain. Thanks for stopping by the Zone of Expandedness. I'm Chris. Welcome to the Consciousness Salon, where we can just chat about the journey of trying to awaken, expand our consciousness, be the best human we can possibly be on this planet, in this lifetime, highest timeline for ourselves and for humanity. It's a lofty goal, and it sure isn't easy in the crazy waves of the 21st century. But meditation is an amazing tool. It's why it has stood the test of time. It's why the forest sages of ancient India used to just go wander out in the woods, the Buddha himself being one of them, the lineage of the Upanishads and all those texts and records just speaking to people, just trying to do that deep self-inquiry through meditation, and it still works today. But what are we actually doing here? Because there is a bit of a myth and a belief that, we sit, we meditate, we hang out in these zones of bliss, and your experience might be like my experience, where that's not necessarily the case. It actually can feel kind of lousy and uncomfortable, and we have to be confronted with our own steaming piles of shit that is, within our energy system and within our mind and within our body, stuff that's locked in there since our birth and built up even over lifetimes here in the human realm. And it comes out when we don't distract ourselves, when we're not busy, and we sit still and quiet and we just observe it. And yeah, it can stink pretty bad and be pretty uncomfortable. I couldn't believe how torturous it was when I started meditating. I went on a 10-day meditation retreat, and I couldn't believe how hard it was. It was just crazy how my mind wouldn't shut up, didn't want to shut up, kept telling me what the fuck are you doing? Just get up, get out of here. This is useless. The self-talk, and then every emotion under the sun started coming up: sadness, guilt, grief, anger. Lots of anger, I found, started to come out in my early days of meditation. And it's what the fuck am I doing? I'm supposed to be all blissed out, man. This is supposed to be awesome. And it's it wasn't. But through some patience, through some perseverance, I guess maybe like you might have the same experience. You catch this little glimpse. It's 99.9% pain and uncomfortable suffering as you sit there, and then you get this 0.1% moment, and you're like, holy shit, okay, I think there's something else to this, and that keeps you going along. And the 0.1% becomes 1%, becomes 5%, becomes 10%. Even now, after years and years of meditation, I still wave and I fluctuate in and out of the noisiness of my mind, zones of emptiness and kind of blissy states that I can tap into, but there's still a lot of noise coming from my mind. But that's also the good stuff. And this is also the stuff we need to observe, and it's probably the main reason why we are meditating and we need to meditate. Because we need to see the stuff that is trapped deep within us. We need to see what's there. The infamous shadow work, the darkness, the stuff that is trapped deep in our psyche, in our emotional bodies, in our physical bodies, in our spiritual bodies. We've lived lifetimes in this realm of really heavy density, and the experiences that we have had over so many lives here that are traumatic, that are violent, that are distorted, that so much, not just this lifetime, hell, you probably went to high school like I did, and that in itself is like going to war on some emotional level, and we're still trying to kind of dig myself out of that hole. But there's more, and there's layers, and it's deeper. But we need to be able to see it in order to release it. The most important thing we can be doing in this lifetime, in this journey that we're calling awakening, expanding our consciousness, is to root out the stuff that is locked deep within. It's like taking rocks out of your knapsack. The load will just get lighter and lighter. Rotten things in your fridge and the container in the back that's just been there for months. It's reaching in there with some bravery and getting it out of there and banging it into the compost and rinsing out that container, and doing that for ourselves in our emotional bodies, our spiritual bodies, our mental bodies, physical bodies, where it's all combined and trapped and locked, some of it pretty deep within the psyche. So meditation provides us the opportunity to sit still and quiet with our eyes closed, or lying down, or however the hell you want to do it, and to notice the stuff that comes up. And those are the breadcrumbs for us to follow, to see what is there and what needs to release. We all have our individual personal load that we need to kind of dump off. We got to find these rocks that we can take out of our backpack, and we don't have to carry them around anymore, and the load gets lighter. And as we all do this collectively, this is how we ascend. All of humanity starts to ascend. Tens of thousands of years of dense energy around here. Just violence and oppression and greed and distortion of every kind is just built up in our collective human system. And we each have like keys to the locks to go in and get some of it. We've taken on this role in each one of us in our incarnation to say, okay, I'm going to go get some of that, and okay, I'm going to go get some of that, and we're going to start to help this stuff work its way out. There's really no more important task to be doing on the planet right now than for us to collectively start to dig out the dense energies that are stuck and that are trapped within our psyches, personally and collectively. So meditation, as uncomfortable as it is, it provides the clues to what we need to go at, what we need to find, what we need to root out of our own system. And through the patience and the practice of just sitting there and noticing it, it gives us also some strength. It builds up a muscle of perseverance for us to work with this. It gets stronger as we go on with time. We get better at it. And sometimes the stuff just needs to be observed. Like so much we deal with in this world. If you have a friend who just needs to talk, they just need to get something off their chest, sometimes the best thing you can do is just listen. You don't have to give advice. You don't have to solve their problem. Just listen. How many women in my life have ever told me, shut up and just listen to me. I just need you to listen. And it was like, yes, I'm finally starting to get this and starting to apply that to myself as well. It just needs to be observed, a lot of these energies. And as we're observing them, yes, sometimes there's emotions that come along with them or memories, but those two can just be observed. And through the practice of meditation, we build up the perseverance and the strength to be able to do that. And just to observe the stuff that comes up, the crap that arises that just needs to be seen, needs to be heard, and then it's happy to dissipate, integrate, whatever verb you want to use along those lines, melt away, but it's not a heavy rock in the backpack anymore. So, as uncomfortable and as unpleasant as the practice of meditation can be, it's also really important. So I encourage you to keep going with that and have some patience with yourself, some gentleness with yourself. It takes some time. And I also recommend doing as much as you can, just personal, silent meditation without music, without it being guided. Though sometimes guided meditations with music and that sort of thing can be quite helpful, especially at first. But again, it's like muscle and strength that we get stronger as we do it by ourselves, silently, quietly. 5 minutes turns into 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and half an hour and beyond. You're able to do it and get through the waves and get through the uncomfortableness, and to just be able to hold that space for yourself so the deeper stuff can be released and can be processed. And then you're free, baby. Then you are lighter. Then you are freer. And this is what the awakening and the expanding consciousness experience is really all about. We're just lightening our own load, and when we are lighter, we are freer, and we are more like the natural source consciousness, spark, divine beingness that we're made of. When we just are able to clear some of the rotten stuff out of the fridge, it just smells nicer in there. Your world is lighter and more peaceful and happier. And if any of you are looking for support on this journey, I do offer my services as a conscious life coach with real strength being on the kind of like spiritual self-discovery side. I help people with the awakening journey and just their own personal exploration wherever you're at. There's no rules here. It's just whatever you are going through now that you need support with. And like everything on this human journey, sometimes it's on the spiritual side, sometimes it's on the emotional side, sometimes it's on the really practical side, and it's all a blend. We're just trying to live out the best version of ourselves that we possibly can in this lifetime, the highest timeline for ourselves and others, and through that we encounter all kinds of things. That is livelihood and spiritual practice and relationships and emotions and family and everything in between. So my contact info is down below. Hit me up if conscious life coaching appeals to you. Have your people call my people and we'll set something up. I'm easy to get in touch with, and I'm happy to hear from you. And I'm really lucky to be able to work with a wide range of people going through all different things. All journeys to me are fascinating wherever we are. And the most important thing we can do is just be curious about our own journey and the journey of others, and approach it with some lightness and some tenderness and some gentleness. And it's amazing what can shift for you, for others, for this whole damn collective consciousness and matrix that we find ourselves in the crazy ways of the 21st century. So good luck on your journey, my friends. Let me know where things are at for you in this crazy meditation adventure, expanded consciousness adventure. Drop a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to share as much of this stuff that's helpful maybe to you, to others, as I can. And I hope your journey starts to become, to have a lot more ease with it. I know sometimes there's periods of struggle, as you know, there's waves that go along with this awakening experience. But I can testify that the waves and the stormy seas, they eventually dissipate, and there is smooth sailing in your future. So just hang in there, just kind of like lash yourself to the mast, as the old sailors used to do in the storms out at sea, and you'll get through it. The sun will come up in the morning, and you'll be surprised at how much peace and ease there will be in your life someday. So journey well, my friends. Peace. Lots of love.